What is the weirdest reason someone offered to have sex with you?
Like and subscribe, or else these'll be in your bed tonight.
In college, a coworker told me she was gonna sleep with me tonight because it was her ex-boyfriend's birthday. Apparently they had spent his last 5 birthdays together, but he'd rather spend this one with his new girl. She said she was gonna sleep with me because her ex was sleeping with his new girl. I said okay. My brother went to a party. I wasn't feeling great, so decided to take a pass and get an early night. Long story short, my bro came home with 2 girls. He took one to his room, the other just walked into my room, got naked, then got into my bed. She said she'd make it worth my while if she could crash for the night. I've been buying him drinks ever since. Lived with some exotic dancers for years. One of the girls from out of town always wanted dick before she went to work. Apparently she'd done exhaustive research and found she made a lot more tips on nights when she was freshly ducked. That's just science, kids. Science. Revenge. Apparently her boyfriend cheated on her with an ex-girlfriend of mine from a couple years prior. She just showed up at my apartment one day and told me we needed to duck. We kinda knew each other. I don't really know how she thought she was getting back at my ex, but I didn't really ask a lot of questions. A weekend of anger 6. I was offered a BJ because she just got her adult braces off. I accepted. My friend Dan got an offer for anal 6 if someone could light her cigarette. He didn't have a light, but some other guy did. She went with him. I let my brother's GF use the phone. She offered to blow me and kept bringing up the fact that I had not collected for months afterwards. I overheard her at the hostel saying she wanted to have sex with every letter of the alphabet. Later that evening I introduced myself as Xavier. A helmet in my college dorm asked me to duck her the night before her final exams so she would sleep better. I accepted. I was spending a few nights at a friend's house. She was doing a fair bit of drinking and we were watching movies. I went to sleep at about 2 AM. At 3 AM, she wakes me up out of a dead sleep and wants to fuck. Her reason? She's masturbating to porn and wants to masturbate with my cum inside of her. Back in college, a friend asked if she could shave my butt. I jokingly responded with, if you shave my butt, I get to duck yours. Really weird start to a really fun several-month fling. A chick once offered to duck me if I did the vocals on a song she had wrote, in which she was the guitarist. 10/10ths would record again. She asked what I was doing after work. I jokingly said I was gonna go home and jerk off. She asked if I needed any help. I said, no thanks, I'm good at it already. It took me 2 years to realize she was trying to get it in with me. Edit. Going back and thinking about it, I thought she was kind of out my league. So I played her comment off as a joke because I didn't really think there was any way she was into me. I used to do social work in the home of a Down syndrome boy. His mom had him go upstairs to play, pushed me off the chair I was sitting on, and said let's go to my guest room and duck before my husband gets home. I don't think it was a happy marriage. Back in high school I hung out with mostly girls, not in a flirty way or anything like that, just preferred hanging around women over most of the guys at my school. So one day during lunch one of the girls asks if I'm a virgin or not. Never really came up before in convo. I said yes, and they were shocked. One of them pipes up and says they'd duck me to just get it over with. Blindsided at this point I agreed, and we met up after school. Came in under a minute. Still hit though. A friend since childhood had gone through a breakup and was in need of someone to talk with. Of course I agreed to meet with her, so she came over to my apartment. We got talking about this and that, and finally got onto the topic of her ex. Well, apparently he dumped her because she was too into sex. I laughed thinking she was kidding, but she kept a straight face. She said she was an info and couldn't get enough of it. I had always thought of her like a sister, so when she said I'll blow you right now, I thought she was joking and undid my belt. Before I knew it though, she was on her knees with my cock in her mouth. Sucked to completion twice that night, and about a month of constant sex and blowjobs followed. She moved to Ohio and I never talked to her again. Shame really. We were really good friends. TLDR. Childhood friend turned out to be an info and surprised the cum out of me, then never talked to me again. In college, I was wearing a cheap, store-bought night costume on a random Saturday night going to random house parties, maybe in August or September, just a few weeks into the semester. Random drunk girl called me her knight in shining armor and wanted me to take her home. I declined and went about my night hitting up random house parties. Surprisingly, a lot of random house parties will let you in no questions asked if you're wearing a night costume. Somewhere along the line, she heard that I never wanted to have kids. She was pregnant and said she'd give me my chance at sex with a pregnant woman since I'd miss out on that otherwise. I politely declined and wonder if pregnant sex is something other guys actively seek out. In high school, had friend ask me to have sex with his ex so he and his new GF could watch. The ex was there when he asked. She tried pretty hard to talk me into it. It seemed like a lot of pressure for a first time. Kinda regret not doing. Girl was pretty cute. We were on the side of a cliff hanging out. She goes, "You wonder how many people ever have sex here?" I said, "Probably a ton." She goes, "Wanna duck on a cliff?" My response was, "The condom's in my car, you okay to wait here for me to get it?" It was the first time that girl and I ever ducked. Edit. Since this is getting popular, it's good to mention. After having sex, a good gust of wind knocked me over. I slid a bit. Destroyed my Apple Watch. Gave the girl a good scare. Laughed about it, then drove to get some food. It was a great night. Would do again. When I was a single mom, my gay friend was living on my couch and just generally helping with life. He offered to bang me if I ever needed to get it out of my system. He's hot as hell, and I'd have done it, but I could never figure out how to instigate it without it being weird. God told her to. In college, I was dating a super religious girl, a virgin who had literally never kissed a man before. She had so much pent up sexual frustration that pretty quickly she was boiling over, and we finally had sex, losing her virginity. Upon having her first orgasm in her life, she started crying and said, "I'm going to hell. I felt my soul leaving my body. Here's a test for you. Try to keep a straight face while a girl tells you that you just fucked the soul out of her. It's tough." A few days later, we were alone in my room and she was tearing at my clothes, and in minutes we were banging away again. Afterwards, I asked her if she had decided sex was okay after all, and she said, actual quote, "I talked to God and he said sex was his gift to us and we should enjoy it. So that's how God was a total bro wingman and got me laid." I was a 17-year male at the local park and a friend's 13-year sister comes up and asks me for a cigarette. I say I don't smoke and she accuses me of lying. She says, "Come on, I'll blow you for it." I walked away. I told my friend and he laughed. Kind of stayed away from him after that. Not someone who offered it to me, but I shot my shot at some girl's birthday. I didn't know her at the time. I got invited to her birthday randomly by a mutual friend. At the end of the night, I told her, "I have a birthday gift for you, but you gotta unwrap it in my bed." She became my GF for 3 years afterwards.